Seeing you from New York City, which is not usually where we see you, we consider you more of an upstate guy, so it's good to see you down in Manhattan.
It was great to be here. I saw a lot of the city today out campaigning.
Well, we are going to get to that in just a moment. In the meantime, you are headed actually to an event with the Log Cabin Republicans, which is a group of gay Republicans. Now, coming on the heels of what we have seen over the last couple of days with your running mate, Carl Paladino, that seems like a little bit of an incongruous event for you to be attending.
Well, it was something that had been on my calendar long before this weekend's issues. In fact, I was pleased to have this set up, and I learned about it last time I was on the bus. And Chairman Cox mentioned he was going to this event, and I asked him if I could attend, and he and his staff put it together. So I thought that was great to be able to have this already on my schedule on a day I was hoping to be campaigning here in the city. So it all came together very well.
Have you spoken to them since Carl Paladino's pretty controversial anti-gay statements, and you are also not in favor of gay marriage? You do support civil unions, but what message do you hope to bring to a group of people who really feel maligned? I mean, they put out a statement hitting him fairly hard, saying his statements were unfortunate, that he lacked understanding of what it means to be gay, and you know, they were quite upset with what he had to say.
Well, I would disagree a little bit with your introductory comment there about his anti-gay statements. The issue was, and as he's stated repeatedly since then, is that he is in favor of gay rights, and he has a nephew he's clearly stated that is gay, that he loves deeply, and that the only issue, and it's primarily based on his Catholic upbringing, that he does not support the marriage other than between a man and a woman. So it's certainly not anti-gay, it's just that he does not support the gay marriage.
Well, but with all due respect, Mr. County Executive, he said that he cited a concern that children would be, quote, brainwashed into thinking that homosexuality is an equal, valid, or successful option. That was received by the gay community, regardless of what his intent might have been. It was received as anti-gay.
Well, it's unfortunate in that particular series of words that were put together that did not accurately reflect how he feels. And he worked very hard to be accurate and to state his positions very clearly since then. And I've had a chance. I spent quite a good amount of time with Gregory Angelo, who's the president of the Log Cabin Republicans here in the city, and he and I spoke at length. And I'm looking forward to meeting him in person because he's engaging and thoughtful, and I am anxious for the opportunity to follow through with this that we planned last week. And that's a conversation that I'll get to have one-on-one and in small groups with the people who belong to the Log Cabin Republicans, because at our core we share the same issues. And that is that 800,000 people in New York are out of work. That's whether you're upstate or downstate, whether you're gay or whether you're not, whether you're black or whether you're white. That's 800,000 people that are unemployed, and multiple numbers are underemployed. So those are the issues that really matter, and that's not to make us any less of an issue of the desire of gays to have the right to marry in New York, which currently is not legal. So again, not to make it less of an issue than that, but from my conversations with friends that I have that are part of the gay community, and friends that I have that are part of the lesbian community and others, it always comes down to we can be in control of our own destiny if we have the opportunities for work and for jobs and meaningful work.
But have you spoken to Carl Paladino since his remarks in Brooklyn to the ultra-Orthodox rabbis that started this whole thing?
Yeah, I did. I talked to him at length. We were both on the road, so I caught him on the road late last evening as we were working our way towards our respective places where we were going to land. And he was frustrated by the way his comments were portrayed. He was also frustrated with how some of the words were put together in his statement, because it clearly is not Carl Paladino, because he has absolute a commitment to the rights of all people, whether they're gay or whether they're not.
But then why did he
restated that?
Why did he give them? I mean, those remarks were prepared for him by someone else. In one case, by a rabbi who gave them to him, who's a pretty conservative and controversial guy.
And I think what happened is, it's happened, I think, to all campaigners. In the heat of the campaign, you provide your thoughts and your ideas with regard to a particular issue. In this particular case, somebody put those issues together with their own flavor and their own language. And Carl told me that he did not do a good enough job of editing it. However, he did specifically in his quick read edit the things that he found to be objectionable, which I think speaks the most about Carl, because he saw those words in his quick read. You know the words I'm talking about. Struck them out that everyone would agree would be offensive, because and that's Carl. He read that and said that's wrong. That's not how I think. So he struck those out. I think that speaks much more about how he feels about this issue than the unfortunate carelessness of not having edited word for word the rest of the statement that somebody from an Orthodox rabbi's viewpoint put together. So that's unfortunate, and Carl feels very badly about that, and has had a lot of conversations with his own family and his friends and others to clarify that. And I'm really looking forward now to meet with these folks, talk to them, but really focus on the issues that matter. That is that Carl will take a very straightforward approach to cutting the spending in Albany and eliminating the corruption by hiring and assigning a special prosecutor with subpoena power to go into Albany and take on the issues that everybody knows that matter, and that is the fact that Albany is absolutely dysfunctional in its leadership. He is the only guy in this race that has the backbone to say it clearly, speak it clearly, stick to the issues, and make those tough decisions.
Well,
so I think that's really where we want to go.
The problem is, and he actually has admitted it as such just on the radio this morning, that he sometimes steps on his own message, and yet he has this new ad out that he has plans. But do you think, before we get off the topic, do you think that he should have apologized quite clearly? Because he has said that he does not regret his statements, nor has he apologized for them, for any of the statements, not for calling Shelley Silver a criminal, not for sending out emails that people found offensive.
And we've been down this road on those issues before, and we have clearly identified those, and Carl has. In this particular case, he immediately came out, and I saw it live, the interview he had in the Columbus Day Parade. He said, I am in favor of gay rights. The people have the opportunity and the necessity to be treated fairly in their workplace and where they work. And he clearly stated that he did not do a good enough job of editing those remarks, but he went forward and stated very clearly what he believes and how he believes it, in the basis of his Catholic upbringing that does not have him in a position where he can approve the marriage right. However, he, like myself, supports the civil unions. I've counseled people who are gay and tried to preserve their rights through inheritance when doing estate planning for them. Some of my most talented professionals have that lifestyle and are tremendous people and valuable. So we all support their rights and the opportunities they have in their personal and professional lives. But Carl was very clear. He said, I'm a Catholic, and being a Catholic, I don't support the right to marry.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Mr. County Executive, you're saying you have gay members of your staff.
Yeah. Well, I have friends, I have professionals that I work with and have worked with throughout my career in the private sector and others, and that for me is not an issue. I like the people that show up and perform and work hard, and that's irregardless of their backgrounds.
Have they said anything to you? Have any of your friends said anything to you? No one has said to you that they found this offensive and they've thought that they needed an apology?
I haven't been back at home to meet one-on-one with people who I closely associate with, and family members and others. So my work has been out there meeting with people out on the campaign trail, as I did today in Harlem and the Washington Heights and other places through the 15th Congressional District. And what a wonderful chance it was to meet our next congressman from that district, William Faulkner.
Just before we get off this topic, Michael, I just have to ask you, have you ever attended a gay pride parade?
I haven't attended a gay pride parade, but my wife and I have had wonderful experiences and have really enjoyed some AIDS charity benefits we've been to, where I got a chance to meet and talk with some folks who really we had a great times with in the evening. And so I've never went to a parade along the lines of those that have been discussed by the media. Well,
I'm just curious if you then agree with Mr. Palladino's remarks that there's behavior that goes on at these events that's disgusting.
Well, I have heard descriptions, and I have 3 young children, and as a parent, I tend to be very protective of them. So I choose whether they're, child-friendly or adult issues. But the real issue here is, what are we going to do for these people that are unemployed? What are we going to do for these people that don't have the right, whatever their lifestyle is, gay or straight? how can we get them to have an opportunity to stay in New York State and grow and develop in their careers, because that's the issue people care about. I understand the questions, but people care about whether their children, grandchildren, whether they themselves are going to be unemployed, underemployed, or like all the rest of us, afraid of becoming one of those two. So that's really where we need to start our focus.
And I agree. I think voters are very concerned about jobs and they want to hear about economic plans, but then why is it appropriate for Carl Paladino to call out Andrew Cuomo and say it was not appropriate for him to bring his daughters to a gay pride parade?
Well, I think that's an issue that Andrew Cuomo is going to have to address with regard to his own parenting, and Carl has his right to his own opinion about how he parents. But the real issue here, again, is getting back to 10,000 people voting with their feet every month. 170,000 jobs were lost last year alone in New York State. That is the future of New York State leaving us because of the failed leadership we have right now, of which Andrew Cuomo has been part of for 29 years. So all I'm saying is, if people want to change, they want somebody who is a business person, who understands the signing the front of a check, not just cashing a check, but signing the front of it, understanding what it's like to make overhead, what it's like to be responsible for people's futures as an employer. Then they have to take a look at Carl Paladino and myself, because that's who we are. He's been successful in the business field. I've been successful delivering the state services for less in the county of Chautauqua County and in the western region of New York.
How were you received in Harlem? You were up there campaigning for the Reverend Faulkner. He is, of course, the Republican challenger to Charlie Rangel, the Democratic congressman who won a primary but is under ethics investigation, or facing an ethics trial. Did people say to you, what was the response? Because, of course, again, the Democrats have said that Carl Paladino is a racist. So what was the response there?
Well, I was thrilled to get the chance to be around a quality person like Reverend Faulkner. That district could not do better for a representative in Congress than Reverend Faulkner, a committed family man of strong moral fiber, in this for the right reason. That's to help the people he cares about and those who live in his district. And I was thrilled with the reception that we received all over the district. And I've got to tell you that I went into this with my eyes wide open, willing to experience it to its fullest. And what I found was people were plugged in. Even walking down the sidewalk, in the busy lives we have, they wanted to stop. They wanted to meet Reverend Faulkner. They wanted to know the options to Charlie Rangel, who's proven that he does not operate in a way that most people would approve. He's under the investigations and indictments you just described. That's failed leadership. Reverend Faulkner provides true leadership, as he did on the football field for the Jets, as he will do for the people of the districts. He is a guy who as we said, as we wrapped up the day, we left it all on the field. We went there, we worked hard, met people, and it was a wonderful experience for me to get a chance to get out there and talk to folks.
We will leave it there with the sports reference. I want to thank you for coming in, Mr. County Executive. It's good to see you.
My pleasure to do it.